Hello, welcome to Medicine for the Soul Yoga. My name is Kat, and this is part 29 of our Journey to Crow series. So we're very nearly finished, and today we're going to experiment with a slightly different variation of crow pose called crane pose, and we're also going to link up some of the transitions that we've been practicing, tripod headstand into crow pose and back to chaturanga. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get going. So we're going to start in wide leg child's pose today. So bringing your knees out to the edges of the mat and the toes together. And we'll just walk the hands forward and feel that lovely release as we melt the chest down. Push the hips back. Perhaps we can rest the forehead on the mat or maybe the chin if that's not accessible. Really reaching the fingers forward but still drawing the hips back. And we can gently roll the forehead side to side. And begin to breathe deeply through the nose. Noticing where the breath is landing in the body. Finding stillness and drawing the hips a bit deeper back. Really allowing the breath to fill the tummy. That deep belly breath. Good. And we're going to inhale, lift up the head. Lift up the elbows as well. Walk the hands back. Right hand behind right foot. And inhale, reach up gently. Squeeze the glutes. Exhale, release down. We're going to walk the hands in an arc forward. Come onto the fingertips. Melt the chest down. We're opening the shoulders a bit deeper now. And then as we inhale, walk the hands back. Bring the left hand by the left foot. Inhale, reach the hips up. Release the right hand back. Exhale, release down. We'll do that one more time. Walk the hands forward. Reach them forward. Sink the chest. Good. We'll come back up. Right hand by right foot. A bit deeper this time with the stretch and hold. Make some movements with this left arm. We can make circles going one way. Can keep the chin tucked in to support the neck, or we can let the head come back, whichever's more comfortable for you. Change the direction of the hand, rolling. And then bring it back to the right hand, coming forward. This time we can lift the hips up and come into a wide leg puppy pose, so deeply opening the chest. A few deep breaths here. Gently coming back up, walk the hands back. Left hand now to left foot. Inhale, reach the hips. Release the arm, squeeze the glutes again. We'll make that movement with the right arm this time. Keep the chin drawing in. Big deep breath through the nose. Good, and then we'll come down. And we'll just sit on our shins for a moment with the knees apart. And we're just going to warm up the neck. Really important to make sure there's no tension in the neck before we bring weight onto it. So just rolling the forehead side to side. Good. Gently back to center. Interlacing the hands behind the head. Just let the hands rest on the back of the head. Gently wiggling side to side here. Good. Hands on the mat will bring our head all the way down. Lift the hips up. Option to stay here or option to interlace the hands and release the hands over the head. Maybe we can even draw the palms of the hands together and the 2 forefingers pointing up towards the sky. Big deep breath through the nose, releasing into the shoulders. Imagine someone's gently pushing your hands to be over the head, so we're really stretching this time. Good, and then we'll release, hands underneath shoulders, come back to sitting on the shins, roll the shoulders here. Really good. We'll place the hands on the shoulders and roll again, but making big circles with the elbows. Good. Inhale. Next time the elbows are back, we're going to open the hands out and just pulse backwards. Feel the shoulder blades meeting behind the back. And as we exhale, right arm comes over left. We walk the fingers back around the back and we hug ourselves and gently wiggle side to side. Big inhale, we'll open the arms. And exhale, left hand over right. Crawl the fingers together and again, gently wiggling side to side. And then inhale, opening the arms. Good. And exhale, we'll clasp the hands, rolling around the wrists. Making waves with the wrist, really anything that feels good for you. Good. And then we're going to bring our hands down. We can walk our knees in and we'll take a few cat-cows. Exhale, rounding the back. And inhale, arching. Close the eyes and really focus on the breath. And then finding stillness. We're going to do a little wrist strengthening exercise. So bring the hips slightly back, tops of the hands onto the mat. Elbows can be quite bent. And over time, gradually, we can maybe begin to straighten into the arms. Spread the fingers, push the fingers down onto the mat. Big, deep breath through the nose. Finding height with the chest lifting up. And then we can very gently begin to peel the tops of the hands back, rolling off the hands. Good. And big rolling of the shoulders. Shake out the hands. Release any tension. Perfect. We're going to do a few sun salutations to really warm up the body, bring some heat to the body before we practice our transitions. So we're going to dive the hands forward. We'll come into downward facing dog just to start with. Pedal out the heels, wake up those hamstrings. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. Pushing the chest towards the thighs. We want to lift the tailbone up. Maybe a slight bend in the legs, that's fine. And then with the chest pushing towards the thighs, tailbone lifting up, then we can maybe release the heels down. So we're going to do that again. We're going to lift up the heels, bend the legs, push back like a spring. And then keeping the hips lifted and the chest towards the thighs, we'll release the heels down. Good. Inhale, we'll look forward, tiptoe the feet to the front of the mat, bend into the legs. Inhale, half flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, bend the legs, forward fold. Good. Inhale, come up halfway. We're really flowing with the breath, this moving meditation. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot back, drop the knee down. Inhale, coming into our low lunge. Push down into the top of that right foot. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank. Exhale, knees down, chest and chin down. Inhale into our upward dog. Exhale into our downward dog. Good. Inhale, look forward, right foot steps forward, use the hand to help if you need. Step the left knee down. Inhale, reach into our low lunge. Exhale, plant the hand, step the left foot forward, inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, step the left foot back, drop the knee down. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, drop the hands, step back to plank. Take your vinyasa, drop the knees if you need to, otherwise a full vinyasa this time. Flow with the breath. Exhale, back to downward dog. Inhale, step the left foot forward, drop the back knee, sweep the hands up. Exhale, drop the hands, step the left foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands down. Release the hands either side of the body, palms facing forward. Begin to breathe deeply through the nose, allowing the breath to travel down into the tummy, feeling very grounded between all four corners of the feet. Taking a moment here to find your center, find your balance. And we're going to do that again a little bit faster this time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, right foot back, drop the knee. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, step back to plank. Take your vinyasa. Weight spread evenly through the hands and the fingers. Back to downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward. And then left foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Straight to the other side. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Plant the hands, left foot back, drop the knee. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, come back to plank. Take your vinyasa. Good. Back to downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward. Drop the right knee down, come up into low lunge. Good. Exhale, hands down, step the right foot forward, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, bring the hands down. This time, bring the hands behind the body, interlace the fingers. We'll find that mudra, the hand gesture, again if we can. So we're going to bring the palms of the hands together and the forefingers pointing. And we're going to reach forward with the chest, reach the hands and really release them over the head. You can bend the legs slightly to rest the chest on the thighs. Take a moment here to find your breath. Releasing those shoulders. Good. And then we'll release the hands and we'll heel toe the feet out to the side and sink the hips. We find low yogi squat. Bring the palms of the hands together. Push your knees apart. Draw the shoulders down the back. And just breathing here for a moment. Good. So we're going to try and sit back on our hips if we can. If our hips are low enough, we're going to try and do it without our hands. If you need the support of the hands, obviously bring the hands down onto the mat to help you come down. But give it a go. We can bring the hands apart to help with our balance. We're going to try and sit back down and come straight into boat pose. So sitting down with the hips and finding our boat pose. Good. Elbows hugging in, shoulders drawing down the back, pointing the toes. Breathing deeply through the nose. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together and hold on to the ankles. So we're working with the inside of the thighs, either holding onto the ankles for support or maybe we can lift the arms up. So this switches on the inner thighs a little bit more, which is very useful for our crow pose. We're beginning to activate the core here. Perfect. We're going to cross the legs, whichever cross feels more natural to you. Dive the hands down. We're going to push back to plank. Lift up the hips. Shoot the legs back. Good. Take a vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment here. Perfect. We'll bring the knees back down to wide leg child's pose, toes together. Sink the hips and take a moment of rest here. Close down the eyes. Feel the breath landing into the tummy. Those few deep belly breaths. Feel the breath slowing down. And then gently we'll come all the way back up. Perfect. And roll the shoulders. So we're going to practice crow pose. We're going to practice high crow pose. And we're going to experiment with manipulating our crow pose to come into what's called crane, which is where we have the arms a bit straighter. We're just going to experiment with that for a moment before we then practice the transition again. So this is a great way to build up strength in our crow, and I just wanted to introduce it as a way that you can really kind of solidify your crow pose. So we're going to start with the hips lifted, the fingers are spread when we come into our crow pose. And in this crow pose, we really want the knees on the back of the arms. So we're really high up with our crow pose. We gently lean forward, keep the chest lifting, and we lift one foot and then the other. Now with crane, we really need the hands engaged, and we begin to straighten the arms. It's quite a subtle movement. We need the feet to be quite lifted. And see how that works. If you feel like you're going to topple over a bit, do put a cushion in front of the face, because we're slightly manipulating the weight. We need to be leaning a little bit more forward and almost pushing the legs back. So it does feel like we're kind of pushing into the arms to have them slightly straighter. So just give that a go. It's a fun little variation of crow pose. And when you're finished to rest, we can just rest in our low yogi squat. We can maybe release out the wrists. So whenever you're ready, can meet in low yogi squat. If you'd like to pause the video and really give that another go, please do that. That's called crane pose. Good. So we're going to now work on the transition that we have done the last few classes. We're going to roll the mat up. So we need a fair amount of space behind us because we're going to connect two transitions together. So we've been working on, well, 3 transitions actually. We've been working on tripod headstand or half tripod headstand with the legs still on the back of the arms. Whether you come up to full tripod headstand or not is something you can add on in the end. So we're working with sort of tripod headstand with the legs still resting on the back of the arms. We then practiced coming up from that into crow pose. We've also practiced separately crow pose and hopping back into chaturanga or low plank. Now what we're going to try and do is sequence that all together. So we're going to go from tripod headstand up to crow pose and then back to chaturanga. So all 3 together. It's tough. And so don't put too much pressure on yourself at all. It's just something to play around with and to really focus on building towards, and it can be kind of a goal point if you would like one, and if that helps motivate your practice. So please don't push yourself, know your limits, know where you're at. Wherever you are at with here, if you're struggling with one of these transitions, then maybe just focus on that one. And then at a point down the line, you can combine them all together. But I just wanted to show you what that looks like so that you have an idea of what that could look like when you practice all together. So first of all, we'll come into our tripod headstand or tripod headstand variation with the legs on the back of the arms. We don't start with the hips up, we start with the knees, with the hips quite low down and the inside of the knees squeezing onto the outside edges of the arms. So we're in a low plank, in a low crow, sorry. And we'll very gently bring the head down and come into our kind of tripod headstand. Now it's optional if you want to just stay here with the legs, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to lift the legs up. If you'd like to lift the legs up, then you can come into full tripod headstand, maybe even straightening the legs. It helps if you're focusing your vision on one spot. Keep breathing. We're all going to come down and bring the legs back onto the back of the arms. And we need them to be quite low down on the arms. And we're going to try and lift up, roll back onto the forehead and lift up. Ooh. Don't worry if one of your feet come down for support. Into our crow pose. Squeezing the elbows together. We need a bit of height now. We're going to hop back to chaturanga. And then inhale to our upward dog. Really good. Exhale back to downward dog. So absolutely don't worry if somewhere along that journey you struggled a little bit. It is difficult to bring them all together, especially when you're already in quite a low crow pose from coming up from tripod headstand and then still having that power to jump back to chaturanga. So it's something to work towards, and building strength and practicing each transition independently of each other will really help you be able to eventually combine them together. So we're just going to take a nice little stretch. We'll come into puppy pose, hips over knees, melt the chest down and bring the forehead onto the mat. Focus on the breath, bring the breath into the tummy. And then gently come up. Good. Sit back on the shins, roll the shoulders. Now, depending how much energy you have left in you, you can either rest in butterfly, and we'll just lengthen and strengthen the inside of the hips, how we did last time. We push down and then squeeze the knees against the elbows. So we're lengthening and strengthening. Either that, or I invite you to practice crow into crane pose. So practicing crow pose with the legs high up and our hips high up, and we begin to straighten the arms. It will be a very micro movement to start with, but over time you'll find you'll be able to straighten the arms a bit more. Either practicing that or practicing one of your transitions. So I invite you've got a few minutes now, either rest in butterfly, practice crane pose, or practice one of your transitions. If you're practicing your transitions, remember you can roll your mat up or even have a cushion, have someone to help you on the journey. I am going to take a little rest and push the knees apart. When we practice lots of crow pose and arm balances, we can create quite a lot of tightness in the hips, so it is really important to properly stretch them out. And we're all going to, or whenever you're ready, meet in a seated position, and we will cross the legs. We're going to bring one shin up, so we'll bring the right leg up to start with, and we'll hold the left foot with the left hand, the right knee with the right hand, and gently cradle, keeping the spine straight, the shoulders drawing down the ears. Big deep breath through the nose. If you can, you could maybe hook the right elbow in the right knee and the right foot in the left elbow. Keep the spine straight and really bring that shin in, opening the outside of the hips. Good, and then we'll release that leg and we'll just lift up the other. Starting with quite low little kind of sway, building your way up towards the chest, flex that left foot. Maybe the knee comes into the crease. Maybe it doesn't, that's fine. Keep the breath. Good, and then we'll release the feet onto the mat. And we'll open the knees wide. Bring them quite far away from the body. So we're in a really wide and long butterfly, and we're going to forward fold as much as we can, lengthening into the lower back. So supporting yourself wherever you land, maybe on the hands, maybe on the forearms. Maybe we can bring the head all the way down to the feet. Feel this lovely big stretch all the way across the legs, inside the hips, the lower back. Release the neck as well. Big inhale into the tummy. Big exhale out the mouth. Let every little bit of tension go. And slowly drawing yourself back up to sitting, and bring the legs in. We'll just let the knees sway side to side and open the knees in the middle, so we open the inside of the thighs. And we can slowly start to kind of shimmy our hips forward as we roll side to side here. So we're traveling slightly forward up the mat. Good. And then we'll find stillness in the center. We'll bring our forearms down. And we'll bring our hands underneath the bum and bring the legs out long, lifting the chest. Bring the head back into fish pose. Opening the chest, really pushing into the arms. Option to stay here or option to engage the core and lift the feet up. Focus on the breath. Good. We'll gently bring the legs down, lifting up the head, rolling all the way down. Good. And bring the legs into the body. Make sure the pelvis is tucked in so the lower back is pressing against the ground. Hands can rest gently on the area below the tummy button. Breathing into the hands. Gently let the knees sway side to side. And then finding stillness in the center. We'll come into happy baby to finish. Drawing the ankles over the knees, swaying side to side. And then gently releasing the feet, lengthening the legs out long. Palms are facing up. Roll the ankles. And release the body. Softening the face, relaxing the jaw. Where could you let go of here? Can you feel your heart rate, your breath begin to slow? Knowing that you have really worked your body today. And just staying here as long as you can and slowly lengthening each exhale. Thank you for joining me today.